Took me a few minutes to get on here, but I'm here. Woo! Yeah, I made it. I made it. I made it. Me and the ducks. Me and the ducks made it. I'm making some dinner. Ooh, make some dinner. Nice. Nice. There we go. Now I can listen and cook and hope you had a great day. Yeah, it was a good day. It was quite a nice day. It was busy. Um it was steady, not overly busy, but it was steady. It was nice. Um it's interesting to watch everything, especially as, with Mars squaring Neptune, this third time. And and just watching, like, there's so many people stressed out and they're wanting to go on stress leave, and it's just like, oh my god. Mars, because this is, I mean, the first time, I think it was in October, that Mars squared Neptune. And this is like, okay, are you going on to the right direction, especially as Mars is slowly leaving Gemini? Are you going in the right direction of where you want to go? And as Mars goes into Cancer, I mean, it's going to be a little bit of a debacle, I think, with all of that. And then we have spring coming up. So next week we have, the new moon, and we have, well, first we'll have spring as the sun ingresses into Aries, and then we have a new moon. And oh, hey, hey, Charlene. She's on YouTube. Perfect. So then we have, with as Mars, as the sun ingresses into um Aries next week. So that's going to be something. And then we have Venus is going to be going into Taurus. So we have this energy that's coming up, with Venus in Taurus, and Venus going to, meet up with the North Node. Now the North Node is the head of the dragon. And this is, yeah, it's the head of the dragon. It's not like it's the notes aren't exactly nice, if you get into, especially into Ayurvedic astrology. I mean, we're talking about, this is in, it gobbles up everything, right? But it's in, it's also the head of the dragon. So, and it's also in Taurus. So it's like leading us to where we need to continue to grow, to continue to set our energies. Otherwise, especially in Taurus, it gets stagnant and dies. That's just what happens. It just dies. Um, because anything like in Taurus has to move. It has to have that growth, because it's springtime. We want that growth and bringing in that growth. And between um you don't, in the spring energy, there's no water until you hit summer. So there is no water. There is the fire, the earth, and the air. That's the springtime. So we have this energy of fire that's there. And as Mercury goes into Aries, this is going to be activating a lot of sparks and a lot of um conflict that's going to come in. And especially as, with Venus leaving Aries, it's, there's this conflict that's coming in, and Jupiter's still there. So we have a confliction, there's conflict that's there. And with Aries, with the spark, and having, what that spark is. And Neptune with the water and everything, and he also controls oil and gas. So we're seeing, a lot to do with oil and gas. They want to open up the Alaska and start drilling oil up there, and everybody's just like, "Oh, environmental concerns," and everything else. So we're we're seeing a lot to do with oil and gas and what's going on. Russia just said they found another bomb on the Nordstrom. I think that's what it's called, the Nord Stream. Anyway, pipeline. They found another bomb that hadn't been exploded. So they're asking for Denmark or some other country to look at it, because they don't want to touch it. They don't want to say that it was them. So We have that's going on. So it's all of this sort of play and build up and this conflict. There's a lot more conflict that's coming in. And big talk because of over the pond in England, they're looking at the banks, and some of what, they're bailing out the banks. They're coming in and bailing them out. And the thing is that with Pluto at the end of Capricorn. So when Pluto went into Capricorn in 2008, there was bailouts and bailouts and bailouts, and everybody said, they shouldn't have done that. They shouldn't have done that. So what do you think they're going to do at the end? Which is just as tragic and worse. They're going to do a bunch of bailouts. I mean, until Pluto is fully out of there, which isn't till next year that it's fully in Aries, in Aquarius, they're going to do everything to save their butts. They're going to do everything to save what they want to save. So we're going to be seeing this. It's something that's going to continue. We're going to see a lot of the downfalls and everything that's going on. And this is where you have to look at where are those things happening in your life. Where are those downfalls? Where are those things that maybe you took the wrong or maybe you didn't? Maybe you took a really good turn. So this is looking at, the things that have been going on since August of last year. We can go back to that. That's when Mars entered into Gemini and then going into the retrograde. So we can look at all of the things that we have been learning since August of last year until it goes into Cancer, which will be coming up in the next little while. So this energy is really getting us to really look at where is the direction of your spirituality in your life? How are you staying true to your own self as you move forward, as you move towards your divineness, your spiritual calling, right? And this could be frustrating, overwhelming. This is where people are having breakdowns. This is where some people are having psychotic episodes, because we have that Neptunian energy. And then we have with Saturn coming into Pisces, you have to be true to yourself. You got to be true and follow through to yourself and what it means to be true to you. And if you're not, that's going to lead to, again, the stress. And it's Neptune energy. Neptune rules this house. Saturn doesn't really have a say in here. It's Neptune's house. This is what Neptune is going to say, is what Neptune's going to do, right? So as he's in there, and he's in there till I think 2026. So this is, yeah, because they meet up in 2027, I believe, Saturn and Neptune conjunct. So this is the energy of, you're going to hear a lot more about the oil and the gas and the structure of the corporations with that. What are they doing? How are they being true to themselves, true to the world? And you're going to be hearing a lot more about the greenhouse effect. And through this this is where truth starts to come in. This is where people start to realize, like, what is this greenhouse effect? What is environmental concern? Because a lot of this has to do with how, we will start to see the control of it all. You're going to start seeing how they want to control you, how they want to keep you in check. What does that mean to keep you in check? What does that mean to, to make sure that you listen to everything that we say? So we're going to be seeing, that. And this is where coming into that spiritual self, that spiritual realm, standing up to that truth of you, that you are saying, no, I'm not going to be putting up with any of this bullshit. I'm going to stay within my truth and what I need to be doing for my own self. It's the same. It's a heavier push towards it, because we're going to be seeing the mental breakdowns. We're going to be seeing where people are unable to handle standing in their own truth and their own divineness. And that comes down, it's hard, it's hard. It's like, yeah, all of a sudden, you have to say something. You can't sit idly by anymore, because it's in the silence. When you don't say something and something is wrong, you know that means that you are accepting that wrongness. And here we're coming into this, and you could say it amongst friends and chit chat and say, oh, that's so bad. I don't know, I don't understand, these drags having, these strip shows for children in the library. I think that's all bad. But if you're not actually standing up and saying something, more so, if people aren't actually coming out and saying something, saying that that's immorally wrong. And I think I started a thought the other day and I didn't finish it. And it had to do with Mrs. Doubtfire and Robin Williams. And the idea that, well, he was a tran. And I know he wasn't. It was a totally different scenario. He wasn't sexualizing himself in front of children. Totally different. That's part of that Pluto and that Eris in Aries. So that brings in that underdog, that underseatedness, that brings in children, right? So there's that energy that's coming in too, on how we are taking care of our children. How are we protecting our future? And as we see Pluto coming to the very end, this uproar of garbage is going to be really in your face. And are you going to say something? It's like someone had a like about the war, the Russian war. And I said, you got to go back to the history. I said, so she's Googling everything. I said, not everything on Google is true. I said, you really have to go in and you have to get, look into it, like the books, get in and understand what went on with Ukraine and Russia. Well, Russia just wants to take it all over. No, that's not what Russia said. I said, if you've been listening to what Putin was saying, he's been saying, don't put nukes on my border. There's a deal. Don't bring NATO into the Ukraine. Ukraine is supposed to be neutral. And what did they do? Right? So this is, not that I'm a Putin fan or anything else. I'm for peace. But this is where we're seeing all of this rhetoric and all of this energy of, of deceit, of, trying to save face, trying to, let's see how far we can push things. Those guys are bad over there. We're the good guys because we're American and Canadian, so we have to be good. And this is where you have to take a true look at yourself. How are you saying that you're any better than anybody else? How are you stepping out and saying that you're better than anybody else? That you're able to tell people, like, when with how they live their life and everything else. I'm not talking about sexuality. That's a whole different, the immoralities and stuff like that go along with it. But this is where, when you start looking at how, especially the war issues, one issue, because we've got the war issue, we have what they are doing and mutilating the children, and then we have the bank and the financial issues, and the Pentagon said the mothership is in our solar system. That came out a few weeks ago. Yeah, I think about a week or so ago. So we have that. And we have all of this stuff that's happening, as we're looking around. And it comes back down. It's like, okay, how am I? How am I, me, Mary, you doing? How am I centering myself? How am I creating that world that I'm going to stand up and be that truth and that strength within my own self, within my life, within my family, within my work, within my community? How am I going to be that of who I know I need to be? And that's where this energy comes in. Because as Mars goes into Aries, that's very sparky because he's going to come in there and he's going to be letting things rip. And he's going to be starting fires here and starting fires there. Because Mercury is not only, he's a malefic and he's a benefic. He plays both sides. He's the only god that can go to the underworld and come back again. He can go back and he can come back, go all the way down to the bowels of hell, if you want to call it, and all the way up to the heights of heaven. He can go to both. And he brings information, and sometimes he's a trickster. So there's a trickery that's going on as well. So there's that energy of trickery. So what is that trick that is trying to be being played upon the world scene? What is that's being shown to you upon the world scene? And with all the everything that has to do with the banks, everything that has to do with Russia and China, when you sit back out at it, and when you sit back on it and you sit there and you look around your home, is that it's there, the energy's there. I'm not saying not to be prepared, but how is that influencing the way that you live your life at this time? Unless you're fully invested in that bank, unless you had money in that bank, or you were the one of the people that didn't get paid, how is this influencing you at this time in standing in your power and your light? If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. So this is coming, to coming into your truth and your mental well-being and how you're dealing with your own mental well-being. Is it stopping you from going to the doctors? Is it stopping you from doing the things that you need to do? Like, if we lived in France and we were in Paris, maybe the riots and everything that are happening in France right now may be stopping you from doing things because that's where you've chosen to live. But many who watch me don't live there, right? We live here in Canada or United States. Some people watch me from overseas, but not too many anymore. But this is where you start to look at how is that energy out there influencing me right now? Does it have to? Yes or no? Is my bank account frozen? No, it just doesn't have any money in it. But it's not frozen. It's only frozen because I don't have money in it. So this is what we need to start really looking at. And I was just looking at for some of my notes here because I sometimes so I can whoops. Let's get it straight, Mary. Get it straight, girl. Now, I know some people are worried about the banks. They're worried about everything that's, happening at this time. I think a lot of people are worried about the tension, but there's a tension that is a tension of between the will, the warrior, and the drive, and the planet of illusion and idealism and fantasy. And Mars likes to assert himself and stand and take a stand. So this is stand, and like Neptune likes to surrender. So while Neptune likes to surrender with Mars in an air sign of Gemini, we want to be super aware of our communications to make sure we are being above board and honest and equally. So making sure we are being discerning about the information and the communication and everything that we're receiving, making sure that we're really looking at what are we watching? What is the information that's coming in, and how are we in taking that, right? And this energy is to activate your spiritual warrior. But the shadow side can manifest as infidelity, laziness, addiction, mental your mental well-being and or deception. So it is very important to be clear and in the integrity with others. So if you see, there is like, even since 2020, since this all began, it is about being that spiritual warrior, about standing in your integrity, of being in your truth, of deciphering what is and what isn't. And this is where, to be clear and in your integrity with others, or it's going to cost you. If you're not standing in your truth, if you're not standing to be in that true spiritual self, it's going to cost you. And the sun and Mercury are about to trigger Mars and Neptune square to pay close attention to this. Pay close attention. Things are going to start triggering. If they, I mean, we're starting to see people are having mental breakdowns. They're needing stress, needing time off of work. This is too much for me. I can't handle this. So this is where we're going to start seeing a lot of people not being able to handle situations in their everyday life. And this is because that you need the tendant to be clear, seen clearly and or seen through. If you know any Gemini speak, they're going to blah 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 blah. They're going to tell you what's on their mind, right? So this is like, this is where this energy is coming in, that you have to be within that truth. So this energy through to Friday with this square, and the sun and Mercury both, that are going to conjoin Neptune and square Mars, for the final, this is completely connected. This is connected to the banks. This is connected to the collapsing. This is connected to to the Willow project. This is connected to, which allows for drilling of oil and gas. A lot of people are very upset about this, but do your homework on it. Is this going to be a good thing? I mean, Alaska wants it. People want it up there in their backyard because they want the jobs. They want to work. And the other part too is that, do we need oil and gas? Because the other part that we have to look at is that if we as a society goes green, how many people are going to die? And the death toll from that. The death toll from that. We've seen it in Indonesia when they wanted them to be totally green. People couldn't even cook their food because they had no more propane. Hmm. How are you supposed to cook your food? They didn't have electricity to cook the food. And what kind of what did the turbines run on? So this is an awakening. Great. Okay, I can have solar and I'm going to do wind turbines. Do you want wind turbines in your backyard? What do we do with them when they stop working? And how long will it take to pay it all off? So this energy, this is like, people are talking about pristine, untouched land in Alaska, the largest part of undisturbed land. They're making it, it's like they're making it seem that this is going to be worse than what you actually think it's going to be. Because when many of these, and especially for the indigenous people that are there, they're wanting this. They're saying yes because this is going to help a lot of people. This is going to create jobs. This is going to create jobs for a long time. This is going to help. And it's not like they're going to go rip this whole area up. Like, it's like the keystone. Like, a lot of people don't understand. Like, it's I got like, do your homework, people. You know, this is where because people are saying that it's going to be solving our global warming issues alone. How's that passing the responsibility and the baton? But I'm looking at it is that the oil we are not ready for the oil for to be completely on solar or completely on wind turbines. We're not ready for that. We can gradually get there here and there, but when we are trying to create this, and this is all part of this square, and this is all part of this awareness, this is all a part of us standing up and saying, okay, what does this mean? Because there's a bait and switch of Mars as square Neptune, and can be seen in the new sweeping, with the protections, and that people are going to try and come in. And this is where, that they're going to be talking about the Beaufort Sea and the Arctic Ocean and the infidelity and all of this. But people do not even know that from Alaska, and this is still happening with the refineries, that oil tankers go along the ocean, along the coast of BC every day, all the way from Alaska, and they go all the way down into down to Washington State, and then no, not Washington, anyways, they go down the coast. I know they go down the coast. And some of them go all the way still to China to be refined. So they're still doing the refinery over in China, even though they want to go blow fucking China up. But anyways, off on a tangent there. So there's so much to navigate and see through and discern right now. And how is this playing out for you? How is this energy playing out for you? And feel free to comment. I mean, a lot of times when I'm saying things, I might be wrong, especially about oil and gas. I'm not um well versed on it. I'm just reading the energies that are going with all of this, and how it's influencing a lot of people, and how so many are getting on the high horse. There's in Lethbridge, Alberta here, there's Lay's Potatoes are building a factory that is going to be solar and wind turbine. Sounds cool. It's going to cost them millions and millions of dollars. It's going to employ, several hundred people. But I said, of course, I say something. The guy who was telling me about it, he was buying his coffee. He was so happy about it, and he's like, "Oh, isn't this going to be great?" And I said, "Is it really?" I said, How are the solar panels being made, and the wind turbines? I mean, how are we recycling all of that fiberglass when it's gone? And how is it? I know there's a lot of wind down in Lethbridge, but he goes, "Well, at least it's going to help with the greenhouse effect." And I just sort of smiled. He goes, "You don't think there's a greenhouse effect?" And I said, "I think there is. I think there is some, but I think a lot of it is being blown out of proportion, and not a whole factory can run on solar and wind turbine. They're going to find that they're going to still need oil and gas." And I think nuclear is our best bet. Nuclear plants, it's the cleanest. And people get sick, yeah, because yeah, sick, and it's that vibration too, that humming of it as well. So this is where, Mars moves out of the back end of the shadow, meaning he crosses over the degree the minute he originally stationed and went backwards in October of last year. And now he makes his way to oppose the galactic center, because the galactic center is around 26 to 27 degrees Sagittarius. And so this is opening up new, this is an entryway, this is entry points, this is into our galaxy. And it's the exit back out. So we come to an incarnation by coming through the silver gateway. So we have this energy that's going to be opening up, that's, that's creating some newness for us. And we also have on the same day, when Mars will exit Gemini and move into Cancer on the 25th, he will make the first major aspect to Pluto, which is newly the same big activation of Pluto ingresses into Aquarius. We got some, like, all of these activations, all of this is all coming into bringing back and pulling back the veil of illusions and getting us to really see things more clearly and understand things more clearly. And the more we start to look at the shadow of the Gemini, is we stay on the surface or so, and just, just we don't allow ourselves to come into our truth. We just sort of be the spiritual bypasser, just be on that surface. And this is where we are coming in with this Scorpio Pluto energy. And Pisces also does not like to do this, much preferring to idealize, fantasize, and see things through rose-colored glasses, and can get quite Mercury. But this is where we have to come into our truth and not. And sometimes that's going to be painful because we got to see the parts that we don't like, and see the parts of the world that we don't like, and stand up for it. And sometimes that's not easy. And and listen to our intuition, and don't just listen to the words being said, but read the energy behind it. It's really that we have to really be able to feel the energy, read the energy, and not be told it's woo woo or magical thinking. It's not, but our intuition and our feelings, and really trust in that and really read into it. Because a lot of people, as I say, they go on the bandwagon. Years ago when Obama got elected, and I said to my husband, I said, there's something about, I said, he's got a really good personality. He's, and he's very charming. He's got that way about him that people flock to him and they want to hear him. He did more bombing and drone bombings than any president. He increased the troops in Afghanistan with a smile on his face. So he was a person that really, and his son, it's funny, I think his son is with, can't remember what sign he is, but I know his son is with Lucifer, with the asteroid Lucifer, so that he can be very charming yet deceitful at the same time. Right? And then comes another person who actually is one of the presidents that had the least amount of wars and the most hated, one of the most hated controversial one was Trump. And he's the one who wanted to, he really wanted to stop children being brought across the border from Mexico. So, and being trafficked and things like that. So it's interesting how, because this is what I'm not saying Trump is beautiful and everything else. I mean, he has his issues, but this is where I feel that we get caught up in things and we see it. It's like when everybody puts the Ukrainian flag in their window or on their Facebook page, and they wear the little badge and they're all for the Ukrainian, before they really, because everybody says, we got to do that because we were raised to hate Putin. We were raised to hate that of Russia. Yet we don't take the moment to really understand exactly what's going on, or take that time to really start to honor that, and go with our intuition and our feelings and what they're connected to with the water. And of course, this is connecting, not only with the water, but with the energies of the earth, because the earth and the water to allow for things to grow, and coming in and honoring that feminine side within us. This is really an energy of power, and coming into our power play and stepping into our power play and trusting our own inner light as we go through the illusions. This is, right now, with Pluto that's going to be going into Aquarius at 0 degrees, there's so many layers to Pluto. Pluto is a fascinating planet, and especially in astrology, in the amount of layers that is with Pluto. And he is one that brings in transformation and change. That's what he does. He comes in and he shows you what is no longer working, and shows you that, this system isn't working. Why are we still hanging on to it? Why are we still hanging on to this type of society? It starts to show you the underhanded and the seediness of it all, and how it needs to change. But in doing that, that means we have to stand up and we have to speak. We have to talk about it. You know, um, when we start to take away, say, religion or spirituality, when we start to take these things away, we start, we begin to start to see the degrading of a society. We saw that with the lockdowns. They locked the churches down. Like, why would you lock a church down but keep a casino open? Why would you lock the gyms down, but yet you could still go and get alcohol and cannabis? It was like, this is where, you take the step back and you say, okay, this doesn't make any sense. Why, when they start saying you can't, some parts, like, you can't buy these essential, you can only buy essentials, you can't buy clothes. Like, that doesn't make any sense, right? So this is where, with everything that, as we are starting to see, we are needing to really look at, and truly look at, truth, because the realities, they're shattered. Yet the openings of a spiritual energy that were closed is now opening up again. That energy of the spirit, of the divine, of connecting truly with, even with the Palladians, is opening even more vastly, even stronger. I feel it coming in more strongly than it has in a long time. And we need to begin to really trust our own selves and our connection with that, because as the coming years, we're going to find that we are going to be needing that for our survival, and for us to be able to stand with our truth and our passion of what it is to mean the meaning in our life, and what is that passion, because survival is going to be crucial in the next coming, not only months, but years. And part of that is that you need a spiritual, strong foundation. It's going to be so important. Maybe that's some other ship. Yeah. So, I mean, they've been talking about UFOs for a while, but it is coming into that strong foundation. How are you going to build your strong foundation? And building a strong spiritual foundation, that means not a lot of people are going to like what you say. Not a lot of people are going to like what you are going to do. It is like right now they have now allowed here's a dumbass stupid thing. There's no difference in men and women's physique, so men are able to do professional weightlifting the same as women and compete against women because there's no difference. Yeah. There was just a fight recently that what was it? Anyways, anyway, the girl was fighting she's definitely a man. Um but it was crazy. It was crazy, you know? Um so that's the craziness of it is the mentality and the stupidity of the world unfolding at this time. So that's why, standing up and, you know, sometimes you just got to say some things are just fucked. And they are. But on that note, I'm going to send you guys so much love. I am going to Oh, somebody just sent me something. Sorry. Ah, okay. I knew it. Um I said one of the girls at work just sent me a notice that she's on stress leave. And I was just like, yes, I knew it. So, yeah, you're going to see a lot of people unable to handle this energy and it's going to affect them mentally. So, this is where for you, if you are having any issues, if you are finding it very difficult to deal with the energies or with your own self, with your thoughts in the shadow side, my readings are on sale for $100. Let's book in and let's have a one-on-one and let's talk about things. It's going to be important. And so my sale is on until Easter, and it's going to be important to keep yourself grounded, keep yourself connected. It's going to be vital in the coming weeks. She's I think the third one I know that's having a breakdown in 3 days. In 3 days. She's the third one in 3 days. Yeah, one, two, three. Yeah, she's the third one in 3 days. So it's going to be interesting to see how um, it unfolds for people because it is going to be very intense. Intense. So honor yourself, people. Honor yourself. Reach out. I know some people say they can't afford the $100. That's fine, but you can't afford me. Reach out, talk to friends, go for coffee, connect with people. Maybe that you need to see a doctor, go see the doctor, get some counseling or coaching through that way. But she's on the mend. Oh, that's good that she's on the mend. So, because this energy is really it's harsh. It's harsh. So, and there's going to be a lot of downloads too coming in for a lot of people too. So, keep a dream journal because there's a lot of things coming in. A lot of Yeah, there's a lot of energy that's coming in. Information may not make sense to you right now. Ooh, side of my face just got super hot. Oh, it's funny. I just felt like there's no heat here. My heat isn't on, but right here, I just got really hot. Like I just felt this energy, this heat right here. Ooh, really burning. Sorry. Whew. Okay. Hang on. You're feeling the stove. I'm feeling the stove at Lexi's house. It's Lexi's house. Her stove is hot. Um, and half my face is red. Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. I feel like the energy that with that heat that came in the first making cherry pies. Yummy. Okay, we're going to Lexi's for cherry pie and ice cream. Um I got Archangel Raphael. And I know I was talking about, or one of my clients was talking about him the other day, that he made such a strong presence in her meditation. But I feel like because that heat, because he's a representation of the sun and bringing that sun energy, that healing energy in, and I feel like it's like that intensity that's coming forth. So I feel like and I got green, so there's a lot of green coming in with the green and the yellow that's coming in with his energy, and he's coming forth, and he really wants, wanting to work and helping to heal people and heal people at the heart. Helping to heal people at the heart, allowing for that healing to come in. It the other thing too is that if you are feeling like you need to go see a doctor, that's the other thing. Make sure that you are taking care of yourself to go see the doctor. If you are needing to see a doctor, if anybody out there has been questioning some kind of health matters, if you are questioning any health matters, please make sure you get to the doctor. I'm not sure who that's for, but if you've been questioning or you know somebody questioning health, definitely they need to go to a doctor. Okay, so don't be sitting on the fence. So if your tummy's been hurting or you've been thinking about getting, a breast examination, or if you know somebody who needs a prostate, the prostate done, or whatever it is, like you just haven't been feeling that well or something, please go see a doctor. Please get yourself checked in. You can still do holistic, but it's also good to get the diagnosis and know the diagnosis. If you know the diagnosis, and we can do things. We can work to heal it, whatever it is. It could be very minor as well, but if you need to, definitely get that done. So this is very, I just got like this is an important piece. So whoever needs that message, or whoever hears this message afterwards, definitely call in Archangel Raphael and definitely get yourself checked out. There you go. So on that note, I'm gonna love you guys, leave you. Have a fabulous, fabulous evening. It's my bedtime. And so I'm off to bed now. That's where I'm going. I am going off to bed. And yeah, have a fabulous evening, everyone. And may the Lord and Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you, and all you say and all you be and all you do. Stand in your light, stand in your stand in your light, stand in your truth, and don't let anybody tell you what to do when you know that this is the truth of who you are. So, have a blessed one. Bye bye.